Everyone, welcome to the People and Culture Roadshow. We started these roadshows late last year, and today is a People and Culture Roadshow with a bit of a twist. So I'm going to ask two things from you. One is an open mind, and the second thing is, because it was Valentine's Day yesterday, an open heart. And I'm going to start today with a story. So my story starts 6 months ago, just before I joined Smart Group. And I, through a number of interviews, realised that people really mattered at Smart Group, and that was exciting to me. It was evident from talking to Devon and Richard and members of the board that the engagement, the satisfaction of employees and team members here at Smart Group was a really top priority, our number one priority. So I asked Devon to send me the engagement survey results, the ones that were done in June 2018, and they arrived in my inbox about 3 seconds later, so I knew they were important. There was one comment that really stuck out to me and still sticks out to me 6 months later, and I'm going to read that comment to you now. I still love working at Smart Group, but we've lost what we used to have. I can't define what made working here special, but I hope we can get it back. So I was intrigued. What was this something special? Could we find it again? If we found it, could we bring it back? So today we're going to explore what is the brand essence of Smart Group.
And I could ask you, so do you love Beyond Further? But I'm not going to do that because we know that some of you might think this is great. Some of you might think, what the hell is this? Some of you might take some time to warm up, and we actually went through a similar process initially with the management team. But what we do want to actually share is that we're not making this stuff up. It's real, it's happening today. Some of you have been here maybe a few months, some of you have been here many years. Have you seen this type of behavior? Colleagues, friends, whether it's with customers, whether it's with employees, right? Whether it's with the community. I think everyone, I'm pretty sure, would have a moment that you think, wow, it's actually everywhere around us, and what we really want to do is bring this back out. And in a nutshell, just what does this actually mean? Like, we could spend hours, we could have 50 bullet points of what it is and what it's not, but we just wanted to give you some practical sort of guidelines on what we think it is, right? And it is really about not settling and going the extra mile. And all the stories, whether it was Phil's story, you know, around his own personal car and giving it to one of the now customers who was having trouble, he didn't have to do that. And by the way, that's a company that we acquired a year and a bit ago. And one of the reasons why we thought it was a really good fit is because they demonstrated that type of behavior. So Fleet West was running 15 years prior to us taking ownership of that company. But when we look for, you know, partners, suppliers, acquisitions, we're also looking for that cultural fit. So that's really important. Doing what's right to make a real difference and own it, you know. Don't just do a little bit and then let go, because what will happen is that it'll just disappear, it'll evaporate.
We know for Beyond Further to remain a priority and to remain a live and living thing in Smart Group, we have to embed that and be on this journey together. So it's important for us as an organisation to take some steps to make sure that we have some actions around Beyond Further, so it's not just talk. You may remember from our most recent reward and recognition program that we really recognised and called out Beyond Further behaviour. We want to recognise and celebrate that behaviour when we see it amongst team members, because we think it's so inspiring. We need to have a long, hard look at our policies and our practices to make sure as an organisation we are demonstrating Beyond Further behaviour. So recently we refreshed and reviewed our parental leave policy and made it one of Australia's leading parental leave benefits. You'll also see a lot of stories and a lot of communication. You'll see Group Vine, you'll see the intranet, and we'll constantly be asking for stories, not only because they're inspirational, but because they give us ideas about how to keep this concept alive. And finally, Beyond Further is embedded throughout our employee life cycle. So when we recruit people, when we onboard people, even when people choose to leave Smart Group. So now it's time to hear from you. and share some stories about when you have seen Beyond Further demonstrated in Smart Group. It could be about you personally, it could be about a team member, it could be about another team, it could be about several teams working together.
I found out that the customer was passing for cancer illness. In this case, we just didn't close the account. We continue making the lease payments, and without even the customer knowing what we were doing, we just didn't want to go in that pain for the customer, you know, to receive a call saying your account is closed, you have to make the lease payments and all that. So we just kind of continue the normal process until I don't know, time passed, and then we will contact him and recover that. But in the meantime, just leave him and provide all the service for him.
Our story is more about a member from our retentions team, Madison. And since she started, she thought, you know, hey, there's underprivileged people out there that don't necessarily have a lot of things at Christmas. Why don't we do something about this? And so she, I think, started Toys for Tequila, which is basically a toy drive. It's nothing to do with drinking. It's, yeah, basically where we go and try and get all these toys in for people at Christmas for the Smith family. And she brings in her own car, collects the toys, drives them out there, and yeah, it's a great cause.
So late last year, we actually had a client. He was actually a major in the Defence Force. He purchased a personal electronic device, which he purchased through our TechSmart site. Our supplier didn't actually ship overseas. They weren't allowed to do that. There's too much risk involved with that. So what we decided to do as a business is actually have the device shipped to us, and then we actually shipped it out to Spain. So obviously there's quite a heavy cost involved in doing that. So obviously we didn't make, you know, anything out of that. But yeah, obviously we went above and beyond and took on that risk as well, and actually sent that laptop out to him, which he did receive.
I was involved in a fairly big car accident. I was riding my motorbike to work, and a car decided it wanted to come across the other way. And that was a Friday morning at about 7:30 in the morning. From that point onwards, I don't think I returned to work for about 3 to 4 months. I went from not being able to roll myself over in bed or walk to eventually actually coming back in for a few hours in one day, then slowly get all the way back to pretty much being back full-time now 18 months later. During that time though, the whole group, not just from my colleagues who answered my phone calls because I wasn't available and wasn't in a position to do anything, looked after my deals, processed my deals, looked after my customers like their own, to settlements who I wasn't there to answer their questions, figured it out on their own. Managers that would give me a call or support me through to senior management as well, that even when I did come back, came and just checked on me, came and said hello, came and said, what's going on, why have you been? That is, as a company, going above and beyond, I think.
Our manager Tammy, to boost our spirits, she put on a competition, and we all had individual target to reach, and if we reached them, we could leave on Friday at 12. So we all are on the phones bookings, and then when it came halfway through the day, we noticed that 2 of our team members were not going to reach their targets, and we didn't really want to all leave at 12 but not them. So we went to see Tammy and we asked her, is it okay if now we do it as a team effort and not just individual? And she just said, you guys do what you want. And I think we only had like 2 minutes left, and I think we needed 6 bookings, and we made it in 2 minutes, and then we all went for lunch.
If we have a brand essence that is just a brand essence, and there's nothing that substantiates it, nothing that backs it up or supports it, then it just rings hollow. And so I think what's really good is that the team or the company has a lot of stories, and you saw a bunch of them in the video, and you'll see more in the book. So the company has lots of stories, and the stories should be supportive of what the brand essence is. Those 2 words should capture those stories. And hopefully, and I know when I came in here and did the session, there were a half a dozen other stories that people put out there that were also supportive. So I'm really pleased that the team has coalesced together to come up with what they've come up with. It's a really lovely case studies that driven by all of you around here to support this brand essence. So Blitz, I think, is something to get behind, and really the end goal is, how do we have an engaged workforce? How do we all get to read the comments that everyone writes and say, wow, I'm so glad I work here? And hopefully it's the start of our sort of next journey to try to get back to what we had not that long ago.